Deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. Essentially, people's minds are infected by certain things that can really only be viewed as pathogens, psychological pathogens. And these things are mainly the economic system, which is an economic pathogen, the social system, the hierarchical social system, which also infects people's minds like a pathogen, and of course the very obvious religious pathogen that infects people's minds. And these three mechanisms or pathogens very much affect people's ability to be themselves, to be all that they can be, and very much paint people into a corner and prevent them from ever wanting to stand in their own power or let their light shine. The social pathogen is actually a very, very effective mechanism because the social pathogen helps to control people in as much as they tend to police themselves. They police their own thoughts and police their own actions because they are very, very concerned about peer group pressure. Creating some item and you're convincing people that they want this thing when really they don't. It's nothing that they actually need because there's nothing about this society that we do actually need. I mean, not as far as what we make and use on a daily basis, folks. I mean, why do we need plastic furniture? Why do we need all the prefab stuff that we've got? Why do we need all these building materials and all the things that we make? It's only because we make things to break. We make everything to be temporary because we do it to support capitalism and to support the economic model. And that's what it's all about. I mean, sure, there are some things that we need as a society. I mean, that goes without question. If we're going to have a society, there are some certain things that we need. I mean, things like electricity, things like the internet. But I mean, even with things like electricity and the internet, I mean, sure, these sorts of things are very handy. We don't actually need them for survival. But even though, okay, you might say, well, yes, we do. Well, okay, if we do, that's fine, but we could do them and provide all of these things for humanity in a way that didn't put people in scarcity. I mean, if we were all working together as one species and working for a way to improve the human condition, we would provide all of the services that we've got for free because this is what humanity needs to have a society like this. And of course, all of this is much more easy to perpetuate and much more easy to convince the people that it's real via the mechanism of the religious pathogen, because the religious pathogen will always teach people to expect things to get worse and to love their enemies and to not really worry about it, because once you're all dispossessed and everything seems like it's lost, you will have a supernatural saviour appear from the heavens and perform superhuman actions to miraculously save everybody. And all the evil tyrants will be taken away to hell, and suddenly we will all ascend to heaven. So, of course, the religious pathogen is what creates and perpetuates the continual degradation that mankind is so to. And it does so in a manner that most people can accept. And not only do they accept it, but what is most interesting to me is that in many ways they welcome this suffering, because that's also what the religious pathogen instills into people's minds, is the concept that suffering is good, that suffering brings redemption. The meek shall inherit the earth. Love those who oppress you. Do not fight against your enemies. Allow yourself to suffer, because suffering is noble and suffering brings about redemption. Actually, for anybody who is interested in a very good breakdown of what the Christian religion actually is and what the whole salvationist redeemer concept is really all about, I would recommend reading a book by John Lamb Lash called Not in His Image. It's actually a very, very good critique of Christianity taken from a Gnostic perspective. In the West, where we are affected by mental pathogens that keep us locked into a system of servitude that we feel comfortable and secure in. We don't really want things to change. We can complain about things a lot. I mean, a lot of the people out there in the truth community who complain about the system and they want to bring the system down, and yet they depend on the system. They go and use the supermarkets. They do all the stuff that everybody does. They just complain about it. And if the system was to really be brought down and the battle was really to be won, these people would not know what to do with themselves. So what is the real answer? Well, the real answer is to see what the mechanism is, I believe. That's the real answer. You see how the mechanism works. Look at the right information and gather the right information and keep an open mind. Don't get locked into a belief system. Just keep an open mind and look at everybody's research. Look at all the research that's out there, and then take a step back and look at the world that exists around you. Look at what you are swimming in, and you begin to see what's really going on here. Have a look at native cultures. If you can, go to South America or go somewhere where there is a native culture and look at how these people live. Look at how happy and content and wonderful these people are. Go spend some time with the Shipibo people in the Amazon jungle. Amazing people that are very, very happy and very contented and that have this real connection to the earth. The true path of mankind is a path that acts in harmony with the planet that we inhabit and with all life on the planet, acts in respect for each other and works to nurture the human creative spirit, the creative spirit of mankind, because we are capable of so much. Everybody has that spark of creativity and that urge to do something wonderful within them. It's in everybody, but it's been taken away from us by this left-brain civilization. So something's happened to skew us from our path. This is what some people call a schism. David Icke calls it the schism. Well, whatever it is, there is something that happened that skewed us from that path. And that's why the shaman are coming out now, the shaman that are left, and coming out and attempting to do ceremony with as many people as they can around the planet now to introduce them to the knowledge of the plants, because they feel it's the only way to give people a crash course in reality, to get them back to that connection with spirit. And they feel that people need to do this because it's our loss of connection to spirit which has actually skewed us from our path. And if we don't get this connection to spirit back again, then we're going to take the shaman with us. We're going to take everything with us. We're going to take the whole world down with us into this machine-like society that we seem to be creating. And that is a great concern, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why it's so important to become aware of these pathogens. It's so important to let go of whatever's happened in the past. And it's so important to focus on steps we can take to create a viable future. What people are attempting to do, I think, the truth community anyway, the alternative research community, is they're attempting to clear the brain fog to a large extent. I mean, of course, there are a lot of people in the truth community, as I've said, they're turning it into an industry, it's become a revenue stream, and a lot of people are programmed into the fight, but not programmed into the solution. But there are still very, very good researchers within the alternative research community that present very, very valuable information in an attempt to clear the general brain fog that humanity is suffering at the moment. And I think it's great that we do this because as people wake up to the fact that they are living in a paper-based matrix, it's good for them to have valuable and empowering information to find. It's good to have that there ready for them to find. Because when people wake up to how the world works, it can be a huge shock for them. And unless we can remove ourselves from the pathological nature of this society and re-establish our connection with the old ways, re-establish our connection with the earth and with ourselves, well, there'll be no way out of the situation. And this can only come about through respect. That's the thing, folks. It can only come about through respect and forgiveness. That's the most important thing. And again, I'm not asking you to forgive psychopathic entities who may be in charge of certain countries, because they won't allow you to. They will always act in a psychopathic manner. That's what they do. And even if we were to disentangle ourselves from this corporate system that currently enslaves us, these people will still be there attempting to push it onto you and attempting to control your life in some way, because that's what psychopaths do. But if we live in a community that respects itself and respects each other, then we will have the strength of community to stand up against any tyrant, because that's what community can do. But it has to come from respect. It's got to be based in respect. And it's not a respect that people really need to earn. Everyone deserves respect. They shouldn't have to earn respect. They deserve respect. The only reason they have to earn respect at the moment is because it's very hard to know who to respect within the parameters of this society, because this society creates an incredibly uneven playing field whereby people have to always run around trying to exploit each other in order to collect enough paper in order to pay to be alive.